Beyond this side is
Patiala casino was hosting the town's most coveted parties. We would see people gambling at the previous high-stakes floor where a staggering amount of money was at stake. We would see a gathering of extremely fortunate people with the entry to the Octavius high-stakes floor restricted to the first 40 guests. You would see exotic dancers, fireworks, famous singers, spectacular performances and whatnot, Your Honor, until tragedy struck. Who would have thought, Your Honor, that the head of Operations Security, the accused in this case, assigned with the task of protecting the hotel, was himself hatching an operation to rob off his own casino. Your Honor, as counsels representing the state of Goa, we contend that a clear case of commission of unlawful offences under sections 396 read with section 302 of the Indian Penal Code is made out against the accused, Major J.S. Rana. Also, Your Honor, it is pertinent to point out here that though the charges of Arms Act have been dropped in the interim order under Annexure 10, if the bench would exercise its power under section 216 of the CRPC to alter the charges, we as the prosecution will argue the charges under the Arms Act as well. Now, the first charge that will be established by the prosecution is whether the accused is guilty under section 395 of the Indian Penal Code. The prosecution will move to show as to how Major Rana, along with the other accused, was involved in a well-planned operation to commit dacoity at the Montecito Hotel. Now, the essentials of section 391 of the Indian Penal Code, which defines dacoity, are that firstly, 5 or more persons must act conjointly. That secondly, such act must be robbery or attempt to commit robbery. And that thirdly, the 5 persons must consist of those who themselves commit or who are present and aid them in such commissions.
5 persons is not 395. 5 persons is not 395.
Your Honor, it is the respectful submission of the Council that 395 provides for punishment of the dacoity, whereas 391 defines what dacoity is all about. Much obliged, Your Honor. The prosecution will show as to how these three essentials are fulfilled and that Major Rana should in fact be held guilty of committing dacoity. For that purpose, we will establish as to how Major Rana in fact had the final word on who was allowed to enter the Octavius, so much so that even the President and the CEO of the Montecito, Ms. Shonali Gujral, whose prosecution witness 1, did not have the final details of the guest list. Also, Your Honor, the prosecution will corroborate the fact as to how it was Major Rana's idea to use the Octavius' special vault and not the bigger main vault which was located on the first floor. We shall proceed to show as to how Major Rana had been at the forefront of this operation for months now and had commissioned a special force comprising of men exclusively picked by him, the details of which were not even known to his chief security officer, Michael Barbosa. Your Honor, the second charge that the prosecution seeks to prove is that the accused is guilty of murder under section 302 of the Indian Penal Code. We will first show as to how the accused has committed the murder since his act falls within firstly specified in section 300 of the IPC. Also, Your Honor, the act does not fall within the exceptions specified in the aforementioned provisions. As far as our case is concerned, the accused fired a close-range shot directly at the forehead of the deceased, which was certainly intended to cause death, Your Honor. Your Honor, the prosecution will establish in due course that on the examination of bullets, the size of the wound, the nature of the wounds inflicted on the deceased, it can be very clearly concluded that no one apart from Major Rana was in a position to have shot the deceased. The third charge and the most...
What is the name of the deceased?
Your Honor, Brij Gopal or alias Babaji. Your Honor, the third charge of the prosecution...
How many persons were there at that time?
Your Honor...
Last year the offense was 395.
Your Honor, the names. In total there were 6 people and the names, if Your Honor could refer to the charge sheet that has been submitted by the police officer under Annexure 9. First it was Major J.S. Rana, Bhaskar Sanyal alias Sarkar, Kesu Pirangi, Niku Matre, Papu Chote, and apart from that, if Your Honor could just give time to conclude.
You have not given us the facts and you have started arguing with it. You should have given who is the person who has died, who are the persons who are involved. You have presumed that we have read each and every fact of the case.
Much obliged, Your Honor.
What is the date of offense, by the way?
31st December, the night of 31st December 2012.
What is the time?
Your Honor, after 11 p.m., the vault was broken. The investigating officer reached the spot and prepared the Panchnama at 1:20 a.m.
Somebody got injured also in this occurrence?
Indeed, Your Honor. The injured in this case was Mr. Bhaskar Sanyal.
Bhaskar Sanyal.
Indeed, Your Honor.
Bhaskar Sanyal got injured. Babaji, that he was the person who died.
Indeed, Your Honor.
And the occurrence took place on some ship.
Indeed, Your Honor. The ship's name was Aurora.
Right. Yes. Yes, next.
Can the counsel just proceed, conclude in 1 minute, Your Honor?
Yes, yes, conclude.
Much obliged, Your Honor.
Yes.
The third charge that the prosecution seeks to prove that the murder was committed in furtherance of the dacoity, which is under section 396. Now, the basic ingredients of section 396 are that firstly, the dacoity must be the joint act of the persons concerned, and secondly, that the murder must have been committed in course of commission of the dacoity. In the current factual matrix, Your Honor, the accused shot the deceased in the forehead to ensure that the focus drifted away from the other accused persons, so as to enable them to run away with the booty easily, and hence it can be concluded that the murder was in fact committed in furtherance of the dacoity, Your Honor. To conclude, it's an open-shut case as far as the prosecution is concerned, that Major Rana was in fact at the forefront of this operation and that he has committed the murder, and we will show as to how he should be held guilty of the aforementioned charges.
On the next.
Much obliged, Your Honor. It will be a privilege to that.
Now, after the opening, we will sit down. Yes? Yes.
May it please the court, I am Tejaswini Rajkumar and I deem it my honor to represent retired Major J.S. Rana this morning in his defense in the matter of the state of Goa versus Major Rana regarding his alleged involvement in the dacoity and murder aboard the Aurora in the Hotel Montecito in the River Mandovi on the 31st of December 2012. My lords, with great power comes great responsibility. Major Rana was a former decorated officer of the Indian Army. He took an early retirement for inevitable reasons and thereafter became the head of Operation Security in the Hotel Montecito, a position of power, yet a position of responsibility. When a terrible heist occurred aboard the ship of Aurora in the Hotel Montecito, where the Octavius vault was robbed of crores of rupees by men in black, it was but obvious for a man of such integrity like Major Rana to answer his call of duty. All his actions on that fateful night can be explained as a legitimate exercise of his right to private defense of person and property under Section 100 and Section 103 of the Indian Penal Code. My lords, the prosecution today, the learned public prosecutor in all his grandiose eloquence, seemed to have already decided the guilt of my client. But we are thankful to the criminal justice system that the lives and liberties of men is not taken away by a grandiose speech by the public prosecutor. The prosecution bears with it a wide burden of proof, an onerous burden to prove the guilt of the alleged charges under Section 396 and Section 302 of the Indian Penal Code beyond reasonable doubt and to the exclusion of all other possibilities. And it is ironic that they seek to obtain a conviction in a murder trial on the basis of a hearsay FIR, a confessional statement whose credibility is questionable on the ground of procedural lapses under Section 164, subsection 4 of the Code of Criminal Procedure, as well as the fact that it is a confession of a self-confessed criminal himself. Furthermore, their
Confession has been made to whom?
I beg your pardon.
This confession has been made to whom?
To the magistrate, to the Chief Judicial Magistrate of
Under which set provision?
under Section 164 of the Code of Criminal Procedure. Master's lives and all. And they have also decided to call upon the stand today two expert witnesses whose reports, after being perused by the counsels for the defense, have clearly indicated mutually contradictory findings. They have this far adduced no allusion of credible evidence whatsoever. On the other hand, the defense will call upon the stand today 5 witnesses, 2 of them, Ms. Zareen Malik and Mr. Shekhar Subramanian, who are independent, unbiased witnesses, eyewitnesses to the crime. And they will testify what they exactly saw on that fateful night. Furthermore, we will also have Mr. Michael Barbosa, the Chief Security Officer who reported immediately to Major Rana, who will also testify on the high preponderance of probability that Major Rana was not guilty. Thereafter, we also have another expert witness, Dr. D.D. Dan. He has prepared a medical legal report after examining the injuries on the body of Mr. Bhaskar Sanyal, the self-confessed criminal, who was shot in the knee during the crime. With these witnesses, we also have the accused himself, Major J.S. Rana, who will be called upon to the stand today upon his own consent after he gave a request in writing. Under Section 315 of the Code of Criminal Procedure. With these witnesses, the defense will prove that all those conjectures made by the learned prosecution counsel are merely conjectures. Before they prove beyond reasonable doubt, my client carries with him that essential protective vest granted by our criminal justice system the presumption of innocence. Thank you.
Examination is cheap by perception.
Yes, we will. Because also there to examine.
Yes, sir. In order to substantiate our case, we will present 5 witnesses, Your Honor.
Yes.
Prosecution witness 1, Ms. Sonali Gujarat, who was the president and the CEO of the Montecito Hotel. Prosecution witness 2, Mr. Bhaskar Sanyal, who has confessed to his crime under section 164 of the Code of Criminal Procedure. Prosecution witness 3, Dr. Trehan, who has carried out the post-mortem of the deceased in the case. Prosecution witness 4, Mr. Amir Bashir, who is a sub-inspector in the city of Panaji and who is the investigating officer in the case. And prosecution witness 5, Saba Huda, who is a forensic expert, and the evidence was submitted to her. May I now call upon prosecution witness 1, Ms. Sonali Gujarat, with the permission of the bench. Much obliged, Your Honor. Please show it to the court that anything that you will testify will be the truth and nothing else.
Good morning, my name is Surana and Surana. I'm 33 years old. My father's name is B.K. Gujarat.
What that you eventually used?
I don't have any technical information about it, but as I was told from Major Rana that it was the world-class security system all over the world, and it was really efficient, and it was virtually impenetrable.
Point to be noted, Your Honor, it was Major Rana who was in charge of the entire security apparatus of the Montecito that night, and as the head of Operation Security, he himself vouched that the vault that was to be used was virtually impenetrable. No further questions. Thank you, Ms. Gujarat.
Good morning, Mr. Good morning, Mr. Gujarat.
To begin with, could you please tell me for how long have you been in this hotel and casino business?
Talking about Montecito Hotel, this
Hotel
was...
and casino business.
Talking about Montecito itself, it was the first anniversary of Montecito Hotel and Casinos, and apart from that, I own another hotel.
Could you just tell the court for how long, how many years have you been in this business?
6 years.
6 years. And over this period, would you say that you were actively involved in the management of your casinos?
Yes, I was.
Ever heard of the Goa Gambling Amendment Act 2012? Never mind. Coming to my client Major Rana, for how long had he been employed under you?
Ever since the Montecito Hotel started.
So, 1 year. And over this period, has no incident up till 31st had occurred.
Not at all.
Would you say he was proficient at his work?
Very much. That's why I dedicated
And
most of
around the days leading to 31st, did you notice anything suspicious in his conduct? On the 31st, did you notice anything suspicious? Nothing. And what about, did he ever tell you his intention to retire in the very near future?
No, I have no.
So to your knowledge, is it your testimony that Major Rana never made, to your knowledge, any retirement plans in the recent future? Is it correct? Coming to the Montecito, it is one of the best hotels and casinos in the whole of Goa. Is it correct?
Indeed, yes.
And how many high security state-of-the-art vaults are there?
Basically, there are 2 walls.
2 vaults.
Yes.
And so could you please tell for the benefit of the court, why is there a vault specifically only on the Octavius floor and not on every floor? Was your intention behind building a vault only on the Octavius floor to store money or to show something else?
There are 2 walls.
Please reframe yourself to objective answers.
Okay, answer.
Your intention was to store money or to show something else in that vault?
I made this special wall just to ensure the safety.
Of money.
Exactly.
Thank you. Could you tell the court how is this vault accessed?
accessed by the way of remote controls and
Remote.
yes.
And who all has access to this remote?
Me, Major Rana, and the security officer.
You don't remember the name of your security officer?
I do.
What?
It's Michael Barroso.
Michael Barroso. All right. And where do you keep your remote?
I keep it with me.
At all times?
No, not all the time.
Where?
I keep it safe whenever. I keep it with me.
You keep it with yourself on your person, or do you keep it at some specific place?
At the time of the party, I was not carrying it.
That is not my question. Have you been asked by the prosecution?
I keep it safe at a particular place.
My question, and I would appreciate if you restrain yourself only to answering my questions. Generally, where do you keep your remote?
I keep it somewhere safe, but I don't want to disclose it. I do remember, obviously.
But you don't disclose it.
I don't want to disclose it.
Would it be correct to say that you keep it at a very safe location?
Yes. Yes.
Away from the eyes and knowledge of people?
Yes, exactly. Because it
And
was a
anybody
special.
testify the fact that you keep it in a safe and secure location, away from anybody's knowledge, or is it just to your knowledge?
It's just to my knowledge.
Moving on to Mr. Bhaskar Sanya. He was an employee at your
He
hotel.
was an ex-employee.
And before hiring him, did you check his criminal records?
I didn't hire him. Major
Did not
Rana.
hire him.
No,
But,
Major Rana
in your
hired him.
testimony, you have said, if I may draw your attention. In your testimony to the police officer, you said that he used to be an employee here and you had hired him at the recommendation of Major Rana. While you were saying that.
It was hired by Major Rana.
So you were
on the-
lying at that time to
Let
the
me
police officer.
I hired him on the recommendation. Major Rana hired him. Major Rana hired him on the recommendation
And
of
decide for
others.
sure whether you hired him or Major Rana.
I'm very sure
So it was
Major
you were
Rana
not sure
hired
at
him.
that time.
I was very well sure, and I'm sticking to the same words I stated to the.
Maybe the investigating officer wrongly bent down your statement. Never mind, moving on. In retrospect, do you regret hiring Bhaskar Sanya or regret allowing Major Rana to hire?
In a way, I really trusted Mr. Rana, but after the incident happened, I was
So you
quite.
have made up your mind that Major Rana was indeed responsible for this.
Yeah,
So you are already predisposed. I would like to draw the attention of the bench towards the demeanor of the witness. Moving further, what about Mr. Michael Barbosa? On his recommendation to hire people, you seem to have reposed a lot of faith in him. For how long has he been employed under you?
okay, started.
Since the hotel service. But you have a lot of faith in him. Could you, did you have amicable relations with Mr. Michael Barbosa over this period?
He's a trusted employee, that's all. He's the chief of security.
I'm sorry, I missed your answer.
He was the chief of the security, and
Please refrain yourself from answering what I'm not asking. My
yes,
question
I actually had full faith and I trusted in his work and lectures.
my question is still not it. My question to you was, over this period, did you share an amicable relation with Mr. Michael Barbosa?
He was an employee, that's all. Yeah.
Coming to the investigation, when the investigating officer of the case asked you to make the exact details of the money stolen, the amount, the denomination stolen, you failed to make it available to the police. Why was that?
The statement, I mentioned that it was the money was stolen was of the amount of 12 crore rupees, and I stated it just
See,
the
you
way.
just stated that it was 12 crore rupees.
Yes.
But you never made the exact cash inventory records or any evidence to substantiate the fact that indeed 12 crore rupees was stolen. Why was that?
after the incident, the very next day, the police asked me about the whole
The
situation.
very next day,
Yes.
or the day of the incident, at the time, some hours after the incident.
I'm talking about the FIR. Yes.
So the FIR, is it your testimony that the FIR was registered the next day, the very next day of the incident? I would request the bench to please take a note of this point. Is it your testimony that the FIR was registered on the very next day?
I gave the information to the police.
But you do not recall. Anyway, moving further, is your casino insured?
Yes. Obviously,
So,
everybody.
whatever money you lose, whatever money is stolen, you get it back. Is it correct? And
To the
is it
insurance
also
company.
correct that if you allege 12 crores, irrespective of the fact that 12 crores were or were not indeed stolen, and you're able to make the police believe that, you would still get the 12 crores back, notwithstanding the fact that 12 crores would initially may or may not have been stolen. Is it correct?
Please do not ask us questions. Don't communicate me.
Withdraw. Last question to you is, did you see any of the alleged crimes, the murder, the dacoity, or any of these acts take place from your eyes?
No, I was not present at the crime scene as such.
So is it
But
your testimony
yes.
that you lodged the FIR solely based on what you were told by me?
See, that is my property, and that everything happened on. Alright.
I could not hear the objection.
He is saying that you are not allowed her to complete her sentence.
I apologize. I'll repeat my question. Is it your testimony that FIR lodged by you was completely based on what you heard from somebody else? Yes or no?
Yes, Your Honor.
Thank you. No problem.
Your Honor, it is my property. It was damaged. Something happened on the property. So I was the one, and this is my responsibility. That's why I lodged the FIR.
Yes, next question.
So 8. Signed by you.
Yes, it has been.
So Mr. Sanyal,
See, this objection is created at the time of birth. Now she is holding a statement right now.
so Mr. Sanyal, what was your designation?
I was basically, as a person, I was first employed in the policy firm, and thereafter, when I lost my job there, I started working with Babaji, who was my mentor.
So Mr. Sanyal, do you know Mr. Rana?
Well, I knew him only during my first employment at the Montecito, and later on, he was in the first run of the conspiracy that he has with my mentor. He only approached him.
Point to be noted, Your Honor. Major Rana approached Bhaskar Babaji, who was in fact Bhaskar Sanyal's mentor, and he was at the forefront to conspire and to rob off his own casino, of which he was the head of operations security. So, Mr. Sanyal, kindly tell us as to what exactly was the role played by Major Rana in this operation?
Yes, Major Rana, when he was very crucial, he was at the forefront. He had hatched this conspiracy. He said that this was going to be a 5-man job, and I would be there. I would provide you support from the inside. Be it your entry to the place, it would be well planned. He had decided that we should go to contact the guest list, and to guest list, our name would be there. He had given his special feedback. He had given his special feedback, and thereafter you were going to have no issue with respect to the movement.
Point to be noted, Your Honor. The witness here is stating that Rana has the final word on what the guest list would be. This is in fact corroborated by the statement of prosecution witness 1, Ms. Sonali Gujral, who also said that Major Rana was the final authority on who would be allowed to enter. Also, Your Honor, as stated by prosecution witness 2, Major Rana was providing that support from the inside. And it's very clear from the sequence of events which is showed to you as to how these events would not have taken place without the involvement of an insider, Your Honor. So, Mr. Sanyal,
I want to say the committee to work.
So Mr. Sandal kindly describe to this board as to how this dacoity was to be taken place.
Yes, with respect to the dacoity taking place, he had already said I give you support from inside. Now, primarily what was very crucial was we were going to breach the wall. And post 11:30, he said that the security men standing there, he would take care of them completely and he would have no finger in breaching the wall.
Point to be noted, Your Honor, the guards stationed post 11:30 p.m. were to be taken care of and Major Rana assured them of the fact. Now, Mr. Sanyal, how did you plan to divide the booty that was to be looted from the casino amongst yourself?
Yes, with respect to the booty being divided, it was clearly stated that the money, whatever we might steal, will be divided into two halves. The first half will go primarily to Babaji, who is the mentor herein, and the second half will be between the all of us, including Major Rana.
Okay, so the other half was to be divided amongst whom all?
Amongst me, my companion, and Major Rana.
Point to be noted, Your Honor, the other part was to be divided amongst all of the accused persons and Major Rana. No further.
Statement of the witness, and then it is the that you will prove the question.
Much right, Your Honor. No further questions. Thank you.
For how long did you work at the Montessori? For how long? And in which month was the conspiracy to rob this casino hatched? October.
Yes.
But on your confession dated 4th February, you said 2 months before the confession that you had this plan had been hatched.
Yes. So that is right, 2 months
Before the confession. So 2 months before February.
Indeed. December, the event happened. 2 months prior to that, December, November, end of October, the conspiracy was hatched. He approached it there. So month of October.
And you have said in your statement that Major Rana contacted Babaji with the idea of robbing the hotel.
Yes, I have.
And so when Major Rana approached Babaji with this idea, did he know him previously or did you introduce him?
See, he just approached me and then I believe he had his own idea. I believe he had his own idea of maybe having this conspiracy or something. He just came and he approached him.
Approached him, not through you. Were you there when he approached him for the first time?
He was my mentor, so yes, maybe during the second time when I met him, they were already in
So,
conversation.
at the first time you were not there, and for the second time also, for a substantial part you were not there.
Will you listen? See, the first time, whatever the conversation would have happened, I was not aware of it. The time when I was present, they were already talking with the plan, and I was being introduced to Major Rana by Babaji, and I already,
You were being introduced to Major Rana.
in the sense, he was making me greet him, and at that point of time, it was substantiated that yes, we already knew each other, and Babaji was just forming the connect. That he's from the same hotel from where you were.
At this moment, the defense would like to bring a motion to exclude the initial parts of the confession as hearsay, as the witness himself admitted that he was not present at the initial meeting between Major Rana and Babaji. So whatever was told to Bhaskar Sanya was told by Babaji. As he is not available here, it cannot be included into evidence. Moving further, you seem to be a very good friend with Mr. Michael Barbosa, who recommended you for such an important profile. Is it correct? So you're not good friends with him.
He was my acquaintance.
He was your acquaintance. And your acquaintances, I'm sure you're very good at your personal relations, that your acquaintances recommend you for such important profile.
The fact of the matter was that we were just acquaintances, alright, and I needed a job at that point of time. Working over there, he told me there is a job there which might be viable for you. I could just push in. That's it.
Alright. And you said, how much money did you steal from the ward?
I don't know what is one.
Alright. And Major Rana was to get how much percent of it?
See, I told you, whatever is the total amount, it is going to be in the bank. The total amount was
So you must have been informed later on how much money was stolen. when you saw?
See, there was too much money.
Allow me to inform you. There was 12 crore rupees stolen. So, is it your testimony that for 1.2 crores, Major Rana planned this whole thing? Could you tell the coach that when Babaji was getting half of the money, did you like it? Babaji, as you said, was getting half of the money, half of the hard stolen money. Did you like that?
See, the one who had the idea of breaching the wall, he had the mechanism for breaching it. Major Rana made the conspiracy, he told us to be a part of it.
So then what was your use?
I was the person who was...
And we do not first witness something for obviously. Can we ask the questions and then wait for the answer?
Indeed.
Give me the question.
Actually, I ask you, you said in your statement that you learned everything about the world of high security walls and surveillance from Babaji. Is that correct? Do you have any professional qualifications with respect to security and surveillance? Please refrain yourself to answering only my question. This is not my question. Allow me to rephrase my question so that you understand it. Are you professionally trained in security surveillance or not?
The fact of the matter is, I was there.
My lord, I would request you to direct the witness to please only constrain yourself to answering my questions and nothing more.
The witness has already stated that the witness was at the hotel and had experience. So that is enough. That's enough.
My lord, however, the witness is not answering my question, and it appears that the witness has been forced to deliberately elude the question that I am asking.
But at the same time, he is not towards the witness to answer, but to a question in a particular way.
Indeed, my lord. I will make it. Tell me one thing. When you entered the casino, what were you carrying? My lord, I would like to draw the attention of the court towards the fact that this strongly contradicts the fact that if they were indeed on the guest list, they would have had to have the buy-in of 50 lakh rupees. The witness has stated that he was not carrying anything in that moment.
Your Honor, it was never the case that we were supposed to carry any money. Major Rana told us that he has control over the guest list. He would put our names there. I am a person who came to have a big party there. I'm not supposed to have that much amount of money. I came to steal money. I had my handgun. That was it.
Is it your testimony that you came only with your handgun and you were not carrying the 50 lakh buy-in?
How would I be carrying the money? I came to steal that money.
Your
I came to steal the money. Will I have it with
So
me?
you came to steal that money, but you did not pretend to mingle with the guests so that you elude detection while entering the casino.
Your Honor, I was there at the party. I was buying my time for it to be 11:30 for me to go and breach so that the security guards would not be there. I was mingling in the party. That didn't mean anything.
Please testify before this honorable court that anything that you will say will be the truth and nothing else. So, has Annexure 4, that is the post-mortem examination report, been signed by you?
Yes, it is signed.
So, Dr. Trehan, what is your designation?
Actually, I work as a forensic pathologist at Goa Medical College, Goa.
Okay. So, Dr. Trehan, how are you related to the case?
I prepared this autopsy report of this person, Rich Gohar.
Okay. So, Dr. Trehan, can you tell us about the gunshot wound that has been suffered by the deceased in the case?
Actually, it was a Dodge range gunshot, and the entry wound was 15 mm, and the exit wound was 43 mm.
Point to be noted, Your Honor. Dr. Trehan, can you please furnish the details of the surroundings of the entrance wound?
There was a white cone of
holding true, and there was a seared blackened skin of the deceased Mr. Gopal.
Okay. So, Dr. Trehan, can you also please furnish the direction of the wound track that was suffered by the deceased?
Backward, downward, and just
Okay. Point to be noted, Your Honor. No further questions. Thank you, Dr. Trehan.
Is it your testimony that the direction of the bullet was backward, downward, and just like that? Because that is exactly what you said right now.
no, it was forward, backward, and downward.
Forward, backward, and downward. So could you please explain for the benefit of the board how a bullet can go forward and backward at the same time? Never mind. Moving forward. Could you please tell the board, and I would appreciate if you would not keep looking at the prosecution tape. Could you please tell the board where you were educated?
I educated at Goa Medical College.
Goa Medical College. And what is your qualification?
I did I'm MBBS and MD in pathology.
So you are a forensic pathologist by profession,
Yes,
correct?
yes.
Could you define forensic pathology for the benefit of the board?
Basically, this is science. It's a medical science, and in the forensic pathology, in forensic pathology we prepare the autopsy report of the dead bodies, and
The dead body of Brij Gopal was received by you on 1st January, is it correct?
yes,
And what did you ascertain the age of the deceased to be?
I think it's 38 years.
Could you please tell the court on what basis did you reach this conclusion?
Yeah.
How did you determine the age of the deceased? On what basis?
Basically, in medical science, there are 3 types of tests. The first is the second test is one tissue test, and so basically through these tests we can check the age of that particular.
But you never mentioned that in your report that you conducted such tests. Could you please tell the court why?
Mr. Defense Lawyer, you have never questioned the age of the deceased. So this question please don't ask.
My lord, it is my intention just to increase the credibility of this witness. I am merely asking the questions to ascertain as a matter of fact whether did he properly conduct this examination or not.
What is the relevance of
Mr. Defense
the
Lawyer, once.
What is the relevance of the age?
Your Lordship, it just goes on to show whether this autopsy was conducted in a proper manner and whether the requisite tests were conducted before arriving at findings.
Is there any dispute regarding the age part? If it the witness is
your-
45 or 50 or is 20?
Indeed not, there is no
Then that is
specific.
not the issue. There is no issue on that.
Very good. Could you please tell the court one last thing? On the basis of your experience in this field, what is the general pattern of deflection of a projectile on impact with a hard surface like cranium? What is the general pattern for the deflection of a projectile, a bullet, on impact with a hard surface like cranium?
If the bullet will just touch the hard surface, then it will deflect.
So,
Like in this case.
so it deflected. So, as you said earlier, it went forward and backward. Was that the deflection?
No, it just it went to the head, then backward, and then downward.
I would like to draw the attention of the bench towards the fact that there is substantial difference between what the expert has said right now on the stand and what he concluded in the report. The expert right now said that the bullet somehow mysteriously went forward and then backward within the skull. I fail to understand how that happened. However, I have no further questions. Thank you.
Injury that there is a wide zone of powder suit
Yes.
and say blackened skin. Can you explain the significance of this?
Yes, sir. So basically, yes or not, basically the blackening, the powder suit and the seared skin, it is because of the close range gunshot. And because when we fire a gunshot to someone, at someone, then the gunpowder is released, and because of the generation of heat, it causes this powder and blackening and
So what would be the distance of the firearm from the place
I
of
think
injury?
it should be like 12 inches. It can be 12. It can be up to 12 inches in close range shot. In these cases, when we find the blackening, shearing, and powder shoot, then we can say that it can be up to 12 inches.
Beyond 12 inches, it will not leave this black suit mark. If the weapon is away more than 1 foot away, then it will not leave these marks on the body of the deceased.
It will, but the minimum distance will be
May I now invite prosecution witness 5, Dr. Saba Huda. Dr. Huda, please testify before this honorable court that anything that you will say will be the truth and nothing else.
I speak with Martin Brothers.
Has Annexure 6 forensic report been prepared by you?
Yes, indeed.
Has it been signed by you?
Yes, indeed.
Okay. So, Dr. Huda, please tell me your designation.
I'm in forensic expert in Gandhi.
And did you receive evidence items for forensic examination?
Yes, indeed.
Can you please give us the details of the list of evidence items?
Received one Smith revolver, and I received two Glock .38 handguns. Then I received 17.38 cartridges, and I received lastly 4 empty shells.
Okay, so Dr. Huda, since 4 empty shells were received by you, can you please tell us about the grooves of the bullets?
The groups of bullets, 3 of the bullets matched the .38 Glocks, and 1 of them matched revolver.
Point to be noted, Your Honor. Also, Dr. Huda, did you conduct tests on the wound of the deceased?
The proximity test was done, and it revealed that the distance of not more than 15 feet was there when the weapon was discharged, when the bullet was shot from the weapon.
Point to be noted.
Approximately.
Point to be noted, Your Honor. No further questions. Thank you, Dr. Huda.
Good morning.
To begin with, how much experience do you have in the field of forensic ballistics?
I've been working for past 15 years.
And could you please tell the court, in what containers did you receive the evidence?
I received them in the package. It was received in a package. It was packed.
Blue dot package, DHL package, what package? Could you please tell the court? Indeed, my lord, it is a highly pertinent question, as the Panchnama does not mention if the evidence was sealed. Moreover, no fingerprints have been received, and that goes on to show that a lot could have happened between the time. Could you explain to the court what packets were there in which you received the evidence?
It was a transparent pack. It was a transparent package in which all the cartridges, guns were kept and given to me.
All the cartridges, guns were kept. So,
Yeah.
in a single packet, all the cartridges and guns were kept in review.
Yes.
I would request the bench to please make the note of this highly pertinent point. Moving further, were you able to lift any fingerprints out of any of the guns?
No, I don't.
And in your experience, when a gun is fired and when a person is usually not wearing gloves, is there a fingerprint found on the guns?
Generally, in my experience, the past 15 years, it happens that because the force of the bullet,
Generally, is it found or
many times it is not found. And then I complete my answer, then you can jump. Yeah.
please refrain yourself to only my question. And my question ends there. Indeed, not my lord.
I'm not able to complete my
I'm just saying
answer.
sorry that the witness answers my question.
You have to make a question. The question is dictated also. She is giving an answer with the answer given by her is being dictated in the court also as per the actual proceedings. Complete letter, complete question. You put a particular question, small question, and take small answers. Instead of putting
I am attempting my best to take small answers, but it appears that witnesses have been told to give perfect word, perfect wrong answers, and that is what I am trying to prevent witnesses from doing. If that is not appealing to my lord, I will refrain from doing so. Moving further, what were basic tests that you conducted on these weapons?
The proximity test was done, which revealed, as I told earlier, that a distance of not more than 15 feet was there when the weapon was
As you said, most fingerprints were lifted and forensic examination was conducted 24 days after the incident. Do you make room for the possibility that during this period, some tampering or some wiping of these guns could have taken place?
No, there could not be.
You do not make room for such a possibility.
No.
So, is it your testimony that it is only a matter of chance that none of the three weapons contain any fingerprints at all?
Mr. Defense Lawyer, is your case that the fingerprints were taken by the prosecution and those didn't match? My lord, look at this case.
My lord, this question goes on to strongly establish how shoddy the investigation was conducted, and I will be demonstrating this if you allow me a little leverage.
Forensics and fingerprinting, they are two different things.
Indeed,
However, please don't try to mix both sciences.
Indeed, your lordship. How many bullets were fired from Major Rana's gun that night?
I have no idea.
How many, let me rephrase, how many bullets were fired from the Smith and Wesson revolver that night?
One.
And could you please tell the court on what basis did you determine that that bullet was shot at that night and there weren't 4 bullets in the chamber of the gun to begin with?
Your Honor, the thing is, tests were found, and when the group testing was done, the testing is done when the gun is shot, and the grooves matched. The shells which was one matched with the gun fired from Wilson. That is how it is determined that one bullet was fired from Wilson.
Your Honor, this is an answer to a completely different question, and the expert witness has eluded my question completely. Allow me to draw your attention again to my question, and please listen very carefully this time. On what basis did you determine that that one bullet, which was missing from the revolver, was fired on the 31st night and not on any time before that, or that in the begin with on that night, Major Rana's gun or the Smith and Wesson did not have 4 bullets in the chamber to begin with?
I never said it was.
Defense lawyer, please don't give a discourse to her. Only a question and expect the answer, and then please let us face.
My lord, I posed a very articulate question in the beginning, but unfortunately the witness either did not understand or deliberately eluded my question. That is why, with respect, I submit that I explained my question to her. My intention was not to give a discourse. So, could you please answer?
I never said that the firing was on that very night. I was, can I just complete please? I was just told to match whether the shells matched. And I'm just answering that shell matched with the group of the resin cell. I never said it was fired on that night, it was fired 2 days back, 3 days back. I'm not concerned about that. I just have to match the shells, and I did my duty and I send the report.
So,
thank you.
in your experience, is it possible that that bullet might not have been shot that night or at that very time in question in this case? Is it possible?
Then how the shells were found. Shells were found at that time. and shares were collected as were given to me in that same package. So as I said earlier.
Is it or is it not possible that at the relevant time, my lord, this is highly pertinent to our defense case, and the pertinence of this will be further demonstrated at the time of our
In such circumstances, when you are putting the question, they have objected, you will record their objection, there is objection, there is, you can continue. That will be seen at the time when you will argue the main case.
indeed,
They have a right to put objections, raise objections, the court will definitely record their objection at the time of recording evidence, and it will be seen at that time. When you finally argue the case on the basis of the evidence.
Much obliged.
So you keep on asking.
my lord, I think I have established all I wanted to hear. Thank you for your time.
Thank you, Your Honor.
May I now invite prosecution witness for Inspector Amir Bashir. Mr. Bashir, please testify before this honorable court that anything that you will say will be the truth and nothing else.
I do.
Has Annexure 3, the Panchnama, been signed by you?
Yes.
And the Annexure 9, the final report, has it been signed by you?
Yes.
So, Mr. Bashir, please tell us your designation.
I am a sub-inspector of police in Goa.
So, Mr. Bashir, what report was received by you on the night of 31st December?
Well, I was informed that there were gunshots and there was one person injured and there was another person dead.
Point to be noted, Your Honor.
This is photograph.
So, Mr. Bashir, as per your investigation, who was involved in the dacoity?
As per my investigations, there were 6 people, including Ms. Surana.
Point to be noted, Your Honor. Mr. Bashir, have you prepared the Panchnama? So, what items were received by you in the Panchnama?
There were 6 items. One Smith and Wesson and one Smith and Wesson custom engraved model. Yes, it was. And 2 rock handguns. Yes. And 4 empty shells. Yes. He's actually saying after and I have said what was found. And
what else was recovered, sir?
And 17 cartridges.
Were these the cartridges?
Yes, it and body.
So, Mr. Bashir, Your Honor, can I just conclude in 30 seconds with the testimony? Much obliged, Your Honor. Mr. Bashir, can you give us some details of the murder?
Yes. The murder was an execution style murder and it was done from a close range.
Who committed the murder?
It was Mr. J.S. Rama.
Point to be noted, Your Honor. Just final question, Mr. Bashir. How many shots were fired in total?
4.
No further questions. Thank you, Mr. Bashir.
Mr. Bashir, you reached the deck of the Aurora at what time?
120.
And your team had reached there before that, is that correct?
Yes. True.
So could you tell the court what was your team doing from the period of 12:15 to 1:20?
They were investigating primary investigations
And
after
what did
reaching
you
this
do
point.
after immediately arriving?
After I arrived, I took in charge of the investigation and talked to my team and took all the evidences that were to be found.
Could you please tell the court how you took the evidences?
It was my ASI, Vinod Kumar, who was doing the investigation before I arrived at the spot, and it was whatever he told me, and whatever he had found, he surrendered it to me.
How did you package the evidence?
The evidence,
as a standard procedure, the guns were put in a plastic seal cover wrap
Separately or together?
separately.
My lord, I would request the bench to please take a note of the fact that the ballistic expert said that she received one package in which all of the guns were together. However, the investigating officer says that he separately packed them. There was a 24 days delay between them.
It was because I packed them in a packet and maybe they were kept together and made it all together.
Allow the court to decide for itself. Moving forward, you said you observed the crime scene. Is it correct?
Yes.
Did you ascertain any alternative modes of entry into the Octavius squad?
No. I did not.
So you did not deem it necessary to consider any alternative modes of entry into the Octavius squad?
Actually, we made the investigation and we did not find any mode of entry.
So is it your testimony before this court that the entry from which they entered was the sole entry mode into the Octavius squad?
To my knowledge, yes.
And to your knowledge, is it also your testimony that all the guests, the staff, the food trolleys, the money trolleys, the security apparatus, everything travelled from a single elevator?
I don't have knowledge in this.
You do not have knowledge. So would you make room for the possibility that you did not thoroughly investigate this scene?
I did thoroughly investigate and I don't think that it is relevant to the fact because Mr. J.S. Rana shot a person and we are investigating a murder here.
Well, you seem to have jumped to that conclusion pretty soon. Anyway, could you tell the courts that when you arrested Mr. Bhaskar Sanyal, when did you do that?
Mr. Bhaskar Sanyal was not present when I reached the spot and we made the arrest later.
You made the arrest later.
Yes.
So Mr. Bhaskar Sanyal had ran away by the time you reached there?
No, he was actually shot in the knee, so he was taken to get medical aid.
Alright. To your knowledge, is it correct that when Mr. Bhaskar Sanyal was approached by members of the Goa police, he outrightly refused to talk anything and only demanded for his lawyer? To your knowledge, is that correct?
Yes.
So he did not disclose anything to your team at all in the beginning. Is it correct?
Yes.
So could you please tell the court on what basis were you able to determine the name of the deceased, Babaji, who was shot dead?
So, what was disclosed to my team, it could not be used as an evidence. So, my team, there were many other people.
As right now you just said that he outrightly refused to tell anything. And now you are saying that what
Sir, I reached the spot about an hour late. So, in the meanwhile, my ASI and my juniors had done certain investigations and they came on with the conclusion that his name was Babaji and it proved to be true. So, what is your point, sir?
My point is not that it proved to be true because I do not accept that it has been proved to be true. But my point here is
Then it is pretty obvious when we talk to the police.
maybe I am devoid of common sense here, but could you please enlighten me on what basis did you determine his name? And if you cannot, let's move on to the next question.
It was my investigating officers. I reached the spot 1 hour late and it was my investigating officers who told me to have this name.
What about the confession of Mr. Bhaskar Sanyal? At the interrogation, when you were interrogating him after you took him into arrest, was he forthcoming with the details of the recording or was he not telling you much?
So he turned out to be the approver. So yes, he became an approver. So he came
I
out.
would request the bench to take a note of this point.
So he came out with the details.
My question is, during the time that you were interrogating him in police custody, was he forthcoming with the details of this alleged crime, or did he not tell you much?
Yes, he did.
He told you everything.
Yes.
And on the basis of the prompt information to you, what did you do?
We started investigating the case and came up to the conclusion that Mr. J.S. Rana was involved.
On what date did you make the confession?
I don't remember the exact date, but it is in the records. You can check.
Alright. When you made the confession, was his demeanor aggressive and vindictive or revengeful or was?
No,
I would request the witness to first answer before the prosecution makes an objection to protect the witness from such an answer. Let me repeat my question. When he was confessing, was his demeanor aggressive and revengeful, or was he remorseful and he was sad about what he had done?
He was pretty calm, and I don't exactly remember his demeanor, but he was
pretty calm.
Yeah, he was not aggressive. But
Not aggressive.
I do not remember his exact demeanor, but it was not aggressive. I would say.
But do you remember if he was making some aggressive gestures while giving the confession?
No.
No. So, are you sure you saw him not making any aggressive gestures? Objection, Your Honor.
It is. I don't know what you would define as an aggressive gesture, but
My Lord, this goes on to establish that the investigating officer was present with him in the room while the confession was going, and according to the guidelines of the Supreme Court in the D.D. Basu case.
You see, in case of a repeated question, the witness can change his statement also. It can be detrimental to your interest. Once you have expected some kind of look from him by putting in one question, if you put in the same question again, you can change his statement.
Indeed, my Lord.
Yes, always put one question. Be sure what you are asking. Put one question so that you will not change his statement. You are expecting truth from him. Whatever statement he has made in the examination, you are divorcing that. Then he has raised objection, you should be careful for him. It is effectively in the interest of your client.
Moving further, but I would still like to draw the attention on the fact that on the basis of the fact that the investigating officer was present in the room at the time the confession was recorded, this further shows cast strong burden on the veracity of this evidence, and this confession, on the basis of the guidelines of the Supreme Court in the D.D. Basu case, that the investigating officer should at no cost be present in the room. His liability to be completely quashed. Moving further, I would still like to cross-examine the witness a little. At the time leading to the confession, what all suspects did you consider?
Since we already shot and we found Mr. Bhaskar Sanyal on the spot, we took him into custody, and all those people from whom the guns were recovered, and we took them into our custody.
My Lord, the witness is not answering my question. I'll repeat the question. What all suspects did you consider till the time leading up to the confession? Do you understand what a suspect means?
I do.
So, could you tell the court what all suspects were you considering?
All those who were present in the deck, on the deck, and those two who were involved, who were accused of the dacoity, and one being Mr. Bhaskar Sanyal and Babaji, and also Mr. J.S. Rana.
He was accused of the dacoity at that time.
It was not, but since they were present, they fired the gunshot. They were in our suspicion.
And what attempts did you make to trace the absconding three accomplices of Mr. Bhaskar Sanyal?
This investigation is still on. We are trying to cover.
My question to you is, to date, it has been over 7 months.
Yes, sir.
What attempts have you made at tracing the absconding? I'm not asking what have you succeeded in.
Sir, the standard procedure being that the police looks for them and makes
Do I look
sketches.
like a police officer?
No, sir, you don't.
So I would not be aware of what the standard procedure is. Please tell the court exactly. Should I continue? So what attempts did you make?
Standard procedure. You are a lawyer. You should know that. What are these standard procedures?
Well, I'm not a police officer, but never mind. And could you recover the money?
No, we did not.
You failed in recovering the
Yes.
money. Did you check the remotes for any fingerprints?
The remotes which were with Mr. J.S. Rana.
That is not
The
right. You
remote.
checked the 3 remotes for fingerprint, as that would have strongly given evidence as to whose remote was used to brief you. Did you check it?
Yes, we did.
But you did not deliberately mention it in your final report. Were you mentioning only that evidence which is incriminating Rana and deliberately omitting that which is not?
Maybe because it was not relevant, we did not find anything on the remote, so it was irrelevant.
So is it your testimony that when you do not find anything incriminating relating to the accused, you
Sir,
keep it completely irrelevant?
Am I supposed to put everything in the final report that there were no fingerprints on the wall, there were no fingerprints on the railing, there were no fingerprints
But
on
are
the
you
remote?
aware you are supposed to put both incriminating and exculpatory evidence
Yes,
equally in the report?
yes, I am, but I do not think that it was relevant at that time.
Very good. Tell me something. Did you check the house and office? Did you search them of Major Rana?
Obviously, we did.
You did. And did you come up with those alleged tracking devices that Mr. Bhaskar Sanyal said?
No, we did not.
So, his testimony was not corroborated by your investigation. You could not find that.
Sir,
Right?
I filed a final report for the murder of a person. And
That is
the
not my
gunshot was shot by J.S. Rana. He did not have any reason to fire a shot
Yeah, I
because
understand
he
you
had.
want to make the court hear something, but right now,
I then ask the relevant question. You already stated that you are devoid of common sense, but please.
my lord, at this moment, I would like to bring to the notice of the bench that it is not the opinion of relevance with a matter of law that the IO that matters, but of the court. As I am devoid of common sense, could you please tell the court, as you are so highly equipped with common
No, I
sense,
never
why
did
did you, why were you unable to find anything substantial?
Sir, we made all the efforts that we can.
But you failed.
And no, we did not fail. Sir, let me complete this statement. Yes, we have the.
Mr. Defense Lawyer, don't make fishing expedition. He's the investigating officer. He has given report under section 173 CRP.
My lord,
But you have please just a minute. You have not referred to that at all. And you are asking something which is completely not there in 173 report. And even if you have to ask anything more, please make it specific and wait for his answer.
indeed, my lord. But with respect, I submit that the reasons behind my question are specifically that they are not there in the final report, which clearly goes on to show that the investigating officer was only including those evidences which was incriminating Rana and deliberately omitting those which were not. He himself admitted that whichever did not incriminate him was found by him to be irrelevant. One last question. The threats that Mr. Bhaskar Sanyal said that he was receiving in custody, did you ascertain them to be true or not?
No, they were not.
So is it your opinion that he was lying about the threats that he claimed to have received?
Sir, as it has been already stated, he could have changed his statement. If he was forced to commit anything in the custody, he could have changed his statement.
I would like to draw the attention of the bench towards the fact that the investigating officer has himself asserted the threats that Mr. Bhaskar Sanyal claims to have received could not be true. No further questions. Just a minute.
Good morning, Ms. Malik. Please raise your right hand and repeat after me.
I solemnly swear
That all the evidence I produce before this court
that all the evidence I produce before the court
is the truth,
is the truth,
the whole truth,
the whole truth,
and nothing but the truth.
and nothing but the truth.
Ms. Malik, could you please state your full name and an introduction for the record of the court?
My name is Rajiv Malik, daughter of Mr. Salim Malik. I'm 26 years old. I was a guest at Hospital that day.
So what were your engagements on the New Year's Eve at the Hotel Montessori?
We came to his birthday party with my boyfriend. He was busy gambling. So, and I was doing my regular, enjoying the dances, trying all the mocktails. And then after some time, because I had too many of those fruit punches, my belly was hurting. So I went on the deck for a walk and some fresh air.
So what did you see on the deck, Ms. Malik?
I was sitting on the side. This is when it was happening. I saw a few men, four men. I saw them coming, and there was also some noise from the staircase side. And I saw one of the men carrying a gun. And at that point in time, since there was all this movement going on, I grew a little suspicious. So I backed away. And then after some time, I was taking care of my own life, right? So I heard a gunshot. And at that point in time, I saw a man, one of the guys, there was 4 people, one of the guys fell and he was struggling. And also out of those people, they were tying ropes and probably getting away or something. I couldn't make out the whole thing, but I can tell you what happened. And then after some time, I heard 3 gunshots, another man fell, the other guy also fell. And I think the security officers were also there. So, yeah, that.
Ms. Malik, you have, can you see that man there?
Yeah, yes, ma'am.
Can you see that man there?
Yes.
So you have no visual difficulties whatsoever?
No.
What was the lighting on the deck?
It was the New Year's Eve. It was well lit.
Well, Ms. Malik, you said one man fell after one shot. And how did he fall?
What exactly happened was, I heard the first gunshot. At one time, I was trying to cover myself. And I saw that man falling. Like I mentioned, I saw him struggling with his leg, something to that effect. And then later on, I again heard gunshots. And this other guy, I told you the guy was carrying the gun? Yeah, then I saw him falling.
No more questions.
Cross-examination by the prosecution.
Yes.
Okay. And are those casinos located on ships?
Not all of them.
A few of them, is that correct?
Yes.
Okay. So, Ms. Malik, is everybody allowed on the deck? Generally? Is everybody allowed to go up to the deck of a ship?
I've been to casinos. I'm not running these casinos.
Okay. Have you ever tried going to a deck before? In a party? Because generally what happens is that when a ship is located, when any party is going on in a ship, generally people are restricted from entering the deck. So are you trying to suggest that you were allowed into the deck?
Yes.
So, Ms. Malik, what do you generally tell somebody when you had 4 cups of coffee? What do you tell somebody when you have 4 cups of coffee? That you have been drinking coffee, is that correct?
I tell them, yeah, 4 cups of coffee.
You tell them you have 4 cups of coffee. What do you tell somebody when you have 3 bottles of water? That you have had 3 bottles of water, is that correct?
Look,
Please answer the question. What do you tell somebody?
I am answering your question. Yes. What would somebody ask me? Do you have 4 bottles of water? I'd say yes.
And were you asked in your statement, did you have a lot of mocktail drinks?
I wasn't, when I recorded my testimony, like I mentioned, I was out with my boyfriend. But he was busy gambling.
And you were busy drinking mocktails?
Yes.
Have you specified in your testimony that you were drinking mocktails?
I specified in my testimony that I was
Well, I think
drinking.
drinking a lot.
Yeah. And I also mentioned, it's on record in the court, that my belly was hurting. And
Because of drinking.
fruit punches.
Fruit punches.
Yes.
This is not part of your testimony. Point to be noted, Your Honor.
Because I haven't even mentioned alcohol in my testimony anyways.
Absolutely. Okay. So, Ms. Malik, when you saw a lot of firing going on on the deck, were you scared?
Yes.
So, what did you do? Were you standing right there when the shooting was going on?
Like I mentioned, I was by the pool side.
You were by the pool
So
side.
there were pool chairs. So I was trying to duck behind the pool chairs.
You were trying to duck behind the pool chair.
Yeah.
Now, Ms. Malik, what's generally the height of a pool chair? What is the height of a pool chair?
What is the height of a pool chair?
Pool chair, exactly.
You asked me that specific pool chair.
No, I'm asking you
Okay, I'll tell you that. Okay, I'll tell you that.
Yeah. So will it be correct to say that it was say about 2-3 times?
I can say this much, I guess.
Okay.
Will it say line like that?
Absolutely. So you ducked for cover, is that correct?
See, at that point in time, when all of this was happening, and I wasn't sure what was happening, first I had to make out a certain what was happening. If I would simply
My
do,
simple question to you is, were you scared?
I was looking out.
You were scared.
I was looking out for myself.
Okay. So you were looking
Because-
after yourself.
After the gunshot, I heard the gunshot. After that point in time,
I would like to request you to restrict yourself to what I'm asking you. Were
you
you
simply answered my question.
Were you scared? Yes or no?
Scared, but I was looking out for myself.
You were looking out for yourself.
Yeah.
And you were also looking out to see what was happening on the deck.
Obviously.
Okay. Have you seen these people before? Have you seen the dacoits who were dead on the deck? Have you seen them before?
No.
You haven't seen them before. So you saw them for the first time. So Ms. Malik, will it be correct to say from all the statements that you've made today that you were scared, you had ducked for cover, you had never seen these men before, and you remember each of them?
When did I say I remember each of them?
Do you remember this one particular man who had been shot in his leg?
I'll tell you why. These men, okay,
Ms. Malik, do you remember that man you had never seen before?
that's what I'm explaining to you, how I remember these men.
Yes, please.
There were 4 people, and they were, whatever, bags went through them, and then they put their ropes. This one guy was huge, okay, and this one guy was relatively of an average build. So I can make out which one's whom. That was.
Okay. So you can only make out that there was a huge guy. Is that correct to say?
Yeah.
Point to be noted, Your Honor. No further questions, Ms. Malik. Thank you.
That's how I told them about whatever the gun and the struggling.
The defense would like to call upon Mr. Shekhar Subramanian, defense witness 3, onto the stand, please. Mr. Subramanian, raise your right hand and repeat after me. I solemnly swear
I solemnly swear
that all the evidence that I shall state in this court is the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth. Mr. Subramanian, could you please state your full name for the records?
my name is Shekhar Subramanian.
So, how did you spend the last few hours of 2012?
Well, I've been working a lot. I'm a stockbroker. So on 31st December, I completed an assignment. So I went to the casino to celebrate it.
Could you please hold the mic closer to the mic? Sure. Proceed.
Yeah, so I completed an assignment and I went to the casino to celebrate it. So that's how I've been working a lot in 2012.
Mr. Subramanian, you said you had been gambling?
Yes.
So, what happened after that? Were you doing pretty well?
No, I lost a lot of money. Because of that, I was a little upset. So I went to the deck to have one smoke. I occasionally smoke, but at that day I was really upset because I had lost a lot of money in the gambling. So I went to take a smoke and to feel a little better, to take some fresh air.
So, what happened on the deck during your stay?
When I was standing by the railing on the deck, I saw that a man was trying to go down, and like I was listening to I was listening to the music at that time. So suddenly I heard a gunshot, and I saw that the man was on the floor, and J.S. Rana, Major J.S. Rana was standing next to the body. And the next moment, a man grabbed my hand, and when I turned towards him to see that what his problem was, he started punching me on my face. And he kept on punching me, and he clutched me really hard. So I couldn't realize that what was happening at that time. And then I saw that Michael Barbosa, he came over there, and he had a gun in his hand, And at that time, I saw that the man who held me was a little relieved. So at that point of time, I could not grasp the whole word what Michael Barbosa was saying. I could only recollect just two lines. He was just saying that, don't worry, you'll be fine, you won't be killed, you won't be killed. And
Ms. Malik, you mentioned the names of Major Rana and Barbosa. How do you know that?
I actually in the party, Ms. Shanali Gujral introduced the guest to Mr. J.S. Rana, and that if there is any security issues or any problems, so we can talk to them.
So was your captor, the man who said punched you virulently on the face and held you, was he armed?
No, he was not armed.
And how did Michael actually help in relieving you?
He shot the man, he shot the who held me on his knee.
And where was Major Rana all this time?
He was just standing right there, right next to the body.
Okay. You did not see him until then?
No, I did not see him until he shot that man.
Did you see him shoot the man?
No, I did not see him shoot.
No more questions.
Can you tell us what were you doing while you were smoking?
I was listening to music.
You were listening to music with headphones?
Yes.
And were you playing the music, was it audible to you?
Yes.
So when you're listening to music, is it possible when you're listening to headphones, is it possible that you can hear anything that's happening around you?
It is possible unless it's really loud.
Unless and until it's really loud. Okay, really loud would mean
Gunshot.
Really loud would mean gunshot. Okay. So now, Mr. Subramaniam, is it correct to say that Bhaskar Sanyal, is that correct? He was the person who was your captor? How much huger than you was he?
He was a security officer, I guess. So he was really huge, and he was a very strong man.
He was a very strong man.
And
Strong enough man to control you, curtail you, and prevent you from struggling?
Yes, he was a very strong man. He was a security officer, and he himself, the quote that he was well trained during his course of
He was well trained, and you were unwell.
I was not unwell, but I was not mentally prepared for it.
And you were not feeling well, you were unwell.
I was not unwell, but he was hitting me on my face constantly.
Prosecutor is putting words into the mouth of witness.
I apologize, Your Honor, I will be doing my question. So, you were listening to music that you state was not very high, was loud enough for you to be able to notice that there was a shot being fired from behind you, right? Is that correct?
Actually, I did not hear the first gunshot which Michael Barbosa made in the air for the body, and I just heard the gunshot which killed the man.
Okay, so when you heard the gunshot, was it immediately after that you turned around to see where the gunshot was fired from?
Yes.
So when you immediately turned, will it be correct to say that you saw Major Rana standing close, extremely close to the body?
Yeah, he was standing next to the body.
He was standing next to the body. So, Mrs. Subramania, how much time does it generally take for you to hear a shot and you to turn around immediately?
Actually, I was
listening to music and I was distracted, so I couldn't hear the shot.
I heard the shot, but it took me some time to realize that, because I was listening to music.
20 seconds to maybe 45 seconds to realize that something happened, my lord. The prosecutor is not allowing her witness to complete the statement. Yes.
Probably 20 seconds.
It took you not 20 seconds to turn around. Now, will it be correct to say that Major Rana was a trained security official?
Yes.
He was a trained security official. Now, you took 20 seconds to turn around and realize which direction the gunshot was fired from. But at the same time, you're telling the court that the music was not so loud, so you were not distracted, and you were able to hear somebody firing a shot. Is that correct?
I was hassled. I was hassled.
You asked the witness whether he was able to hear it. Much obliged, Your Honor. So Mr. Subramaniam, you're telling the court that there was a man who caught hold of you suddenly and he did not have a gun pointed at you and yet you were not able to struggle free out of it. Is that correct?
Yes.
Mr. Subramaniam, was there anybody else on the deck who saw you struggling there without a gun?
I don't know.
You don't know. Okay. Okay. Mr. Subramaniam, can you tell the court what happened? What did you hear happening when Mr. Barbosa came in front of you?
I couldn't hear it clearly, but he just said two words, like two lines. First, you won't get killed, and no one will kill you. Don't worry.
Don't worry, I won't kill you.
Don't worry.
No one will kill you. Are you sure?
Yeah.
Don't worry, no one will kill you. Point to be noted, Your Honor, there is a contradiction with the 161 testimony. Okay, so I would just like to refresh your memory in this regard that he said, don't worry, won't kill you. Mr. Subramaniam, you realize that...
My lord, how is
Much obliged, Your Honor. So, don't worry, won't kill, and don't worry, I won't kill you.
I didn't say I won't kill
We
you.
won't kill you, nobody will kill you, no one will
Won't
kill
kill
you.
you.
Okay,
I guess
much obliged.
that's it.
Point to be noted, Your Honor. No further questions.
The defense now calls upon Mr. Michael Barbosa. Mr. Barbosa, raise your right hand and repeat after me. I solemnly hereby swear
I solemnly hereby swear
that all the evidence
that all the evidence
that I state in this court
that I state in this court
is the truth,
is the truth,
the whole truth, and nothing but the truth.
the whole truth, and nothing but the truth.
Mr. Barbosa, could you please state your full name and an occupation for the
My name
record?
is Michael Barbosa. My father's name is Joel Barbosa. I'm 1847 in this school. I'm working as a chief security officer at the Montecito Hotel and Casinos.
Mr. Barbosa, who do you report to in your capacity as the Chief Security Officer? Who do you immediately report to?
My immediate senior is Mr. J.S. Rana, Major Rana, who is the head of Operation Security at the Montecito Hotels.
Mr. Barbosa, how would you describe Major Rana as the head of Operation Security?
Mr. Rana, Major Rana, is a very efficient person and he has been conducting the security of Montecito Hotels with utmost sincerity, and there has been no reported incidents of any breach till date. He is a nice boss and he has always been encouraging as well as helpful to the university.
On the fateful night of the 31st, when were you exactly informed of this heist?
At around 10:55 p.m., I heard some chatter on the intercom that there were some unidentified persons on the octavius floor. However, it was later proved that there were some guests who had just lost their way and they were properly escorted back to their respective tables. But after a few minutes from them, I had another chatter on the intercom whereby it was said that there are some unidentified people. In fact, there were 4 men who were running on the deck towards the deck from the octavius floor and had large bags in their hands. So I immediately ran towards the deck from the floor which was just beneath the deck.
So when you reached the deck, could you please notice, what did you notice? Were these men armed?
When I
Any of them?
reached the deck, I saw that 2 men were trying to grapple down the ropes and they threw their bags in our motorboat, while 2 other men were waiting since there were only 2 ropes to grapple down. So one of the 2 men, he was armed with a pistol. And secondly, the next thing which I noticed on the deck was that one of the person was taking hostage a witness, not a witness, he was taking hostage a guest. So I totally concentrated my attention towards that person who was taken as a hostage.
The counsel requests permission of the court to approach the witness because we have a 3D model of the crime sketch. So that this will be much obliged.
Mr. Barbosa, let me talk. This is not the event. This is the
what you are showing to the witness. Your chance will come, you will impose it for the cross-examination.
You might not prosecutor will get an opportunity to cross-examine the case with the same.
Mr. Patel, sir, do you agree with the scheme of the crime scene?
Yes, it is more or less, it is almost the same which was the thing which I witnessed.
Mr. Patel, sir, from where did you enter?
I entered the deck from this side. Since I was closer to that side of the deck, I was on the floor just beneath the deck, so I entered through the stairs from that side, from this side.
And how did you flee the hostage?
When I saw that a person, one of the alleged person who was seen running with the bags, I saw that he had taken a guest as a hostage. So I first shouted him that he must refrain from that hostage situation, he must leave the guest away, he must leave the guest alone. Then I fired a warning shot in the air, and when I see that there could be grave threat and danger to the guest who are esteemed guests, then I shot a bullet on his team cap. That's a proper protocol we have. We have warning shot and then
So, was there a struggle in the process?
he was holding the witness as a hostage, so I had to do all his reasonable force which is required to be used to free that hostage who was an esteemed guest.
Did anything happen at that time?
Yes. At that time, the guest was struggling because of the hold which the alleged person had taken upon the guest. And as I felt that there was some force involved, force was used on the esteemed guest, so I think that it was reasonable to do all possible means to free that guest from us.
What happened thereafter?
Then after I fired, as I told you, I fired a warning shot and I shot the person concerned in the kneecap. Then I rushed towards the alleged person, the captor, and then I subdued him and I kept hold of him by that time. After that, I heard a gunshot. Then I saw Mr. Surana running towards me. By the time I also saw that there was another person whom I was initially unaware of, who was just behind me carrying a pistol, and now he was shot dead. That was the scheme of it.
Did you observe Major Rana at the time you heard the shot or after the shot?
After the shot, because I was subduing the person who was a captor. Then when I heard the shot, I turned back and I saw that there was Mr. Rana who was trying to come to help me. And the very next moment I saw that there was a dead body, a person who was also dressed in the same manner as the alleged dacoits were, and he was having a gun.
Thank you, Mr. Barbosa.
You want to see the document?
So, Mr. Barbosa, are you an honest man?
Yes.
So, do you take this each time you speak?
Madam Counsel, if you have noticed, I have taken and I have stated everything on the oath, so I am under oath to state the truth and nothing but the truth.
Okay. So, is this your statement under 161? Your Honor, I would like to draw your attention to Annexure 7. Yes.
Yes.
So, is this your statement?
Yes, Madam Counsel.
Was this statement read over to you?
Yes, Madam Counsel.
So, do you agree with everything that you have stated here?
Madam Counsel, I have agreed with the scheme of the events which took place.
You have agreed with the scheme of events that
Yes,
you
Madam.
So, if I could just read out the relevant portions to you. Since we were using the previous words for the first time, okay, just a second. In the meanwhile, I heard firing, and when I turned and saw what was happening, Major Rana had shot the other thief in the head, and he was walking towards me. Is that correct?
Madam Counsel, you were just expecting to
Mr.
say this right.
Barbosa, was the statement given by you?
Madam Counsel, the statement was given in a proper circumstance, in a set of circumstances.
Holistic view, you said in essence you agree with the sequence of events. I'm just asking you, as you have agreed before this court, that this statement was made by you.
Indeed, Madam Counsel, and I am standing by the statement. The fact is that I have just explained the scene which I had witnessed, and in corroboration with that, the statement should be read and not as an isolated statement. That is my request to the Honorable Court and the Madam Counsel.
Point to be noted, Your Honor, the witness agrees to the fact that this statement was written by him, yet at the same time he backtracks from the same statement saying that now he had not seen Major Rana shooting.
Madam Counsel, the statement I made clearly specified that I saw
Clearly
Mr. Rana.
specifies that Major Rana had shot the other thief in the head.
Madam Counsel, the statement still doesn't read that I saw him shooting the person.
That is all right.
And I am sticking by the statement that has already
Thank you,
illustrated.
Mr. Barbosa. That is for the court to judge.
Indeed.
Okay. So, Mr. Barbosa, is it correct to say that the security at the Octavius was the responsibility of Major Rana?
Indeed, Madam Counsel.
And generally for the big events, the main was used?
Madam Counsel, it depends on the event which is to be taken place. And since we have two votes, it depends which event is the
Is
most.
it correct to say that in the last 8 months, the main vault was always used?
Madam Counsel, it was not used, but as I specified, it depends on the event and the gravity of the event which decides which vault to be used.
Point to be noted, Your Honours, the witnesses agreed that in the past, for the last 8 months, only the main vault was being used.
Objection, my lord. There is nothing on the evidence to suggest this, and the prosecutor is putting words deliberately into the mouth of the witness.
Much obliged, Your Honour. However, what the counsel is essentially trying to do is to remind the witness of the 161 statement, and considering the fact that he has agreed to the fact that whatever he has stated in his statement is correct, we are just trying to find the contradiction and explain to the court how the witness has been tutored to bring to this trial. Okay.
Mr. Prosecutor, you have every right to impeach the credit of the defense witness because he was cited as a prosecution witness and now he's being produced by the defense. You have every right for that.
Much obliged, Your Honour.
Clarification, my lord.
Please don't ask for clarification from the court. Please note it down and tell your defense lawyer to argue at the time of argument.
Much obliged, Your Honour. Okay, so Mr. Barbosa, who had commissioned the special force for the vaults?
Madam Counsel, Major Rana, who was the head of Operation Security, he had commissioned the special.
He had commissioned the special force.
Indeed, madam.
Did you know the details and did you know the people who were a part of that special force?
Madam Counsel, it is beyond my pay grade and beyond my clearest level to know all those minute details.
So you did not know it.
My lords, under section 162 of the Code of Criminal Procedure, repeated allusions to the statement under 161 cannot be made, and that has to be corroborated or contradicted only on the basis of the testimony of the witness on the stand.
Your Honour, however, under the Indian Evidence Act section 161, the counsel has the right to refresh the memory of the witness and to explain to him how his 161 CRPP statement, whether it was given intact or not.
Refreshing memory is the right of the witness. Let him exercise it.
Much obliged, Your Honour.
Moreover, Your Lordship, in section 159.
Okay, so Mr. Barbosa, is it correct to say that Major Rana had commissioned the report, commissioned the team?
Yes, Madam Counsel.
So, Mr. Barbosa, is it also correct to say that you did not have the profile?
Yes, Madam Counsel, I did not have the profile of the person concerned in the previous code, internal security.
Is it also correct to say that you had heard chatter on the telecom?
As I stated to the Honorable Court, I had chatted on the intercom regarding.
And is it also correct to say that the team appointed by Major Rana had told you that there is nothing suspicious?
Madam Counsel, I heard the chatter that they were unidentified people, but later it was confirmed by the same
But in the
guard.
first instance, when the robbery could have been prevented, at that point of time, the team told you that there is nothing suspicious. Is
Madam
that
Counsel,
correct?
it is to be noted with due regard that the chatter came from the previous code, but only the internal security guards were commissioned by Major Rana. The external security were my guards, and they were the people who escorted the guests who were taken as considered as unidentified
So the
persons.
chatter on the telecom was because of the special force. The special force commissioned by Major Rana told you that there is nothing suspicious.
Madam Counsel, my men told that they were guests and they escorted them back to the
It is
casino.
alright. Point to be noted, Your Honour, Mr. Barbosa is clearly accepting the fact that the party that the team commissioned by Major Rana had told them that there is nothing suspicious.
Your Lordship, it were my guards who were under the purview of my supervision, that is the external guards. They told me that they had escorted the guests back to the casino. However, the report was made, the initial alarm was made by the internal security.
Mr. Barbosa, are you trying to tell the court that along with Major Rana, you were also involved in the conspiracy?
Madam Counsel, I am just stating the fact that Mr. Rana was only. Madam Counsel, could you please let me answer since you have posed that question? I have every right to answer the
Yes,
question.
please.
So, with due regard, Madam Counsel, I am just letting the court point out the fact that there were two types of securities. The internal one was kept under the supervision of Major Rana. The external one was under my supervision. Now the internal one, that is the Octavius Gold security, they notified that there was some unidentified man. Now after that, the external guards, those were under my supervision, and I had known the full profile of each and every person who was commissioned there. They told me that they had escorted the esteemed guests back to the casino because they had lost their pass, and in that manner they had reached out to this goal.
And later on you realized that they...
Yes,
Are you aware of the identity of the guests?
Pardon, Lordship?
Are you aware of the identity in particular of the guests?
Your Lordship, the guests, but the list was prepared by Major Rana. However, my men escorted them back to the casino where they were involving in gambling and other businesses which they were earlier. And they...
Question of the code is very specific.
No, Your Lordship. The guest list was prepared by Major Rana.
Much obliged, Your Honor. Okay, so Mr. Karbosar, you had just told the court that security officers generally have a protocol of shooting at the leg. Is that correct?
Madam Counsel, I just told the court that we first give them a warning shot. Then if need arise and we have to use a reasonable force, then we do that. And it's a very common thing, not only the casinos.
Noted, Your
Mr.
Honor.
Prosecutor, since the accused would be your witness and you would be a cross-examining, please ask this question to him. Reserve that answer to that.
Much obliged, Your Honor. Your Honor, the counsel would just try to bring to the notice of the court that security officials generally fire in the air and then fire a shot in the leg.
Exactly, that is what we did, Your Honor. As I quoted on stand, then I first warned them by words, then I shot a warning shot in the air, and then when the life of the esteemed guests was in danger, then I had to shoot them in the knee. That is the stand of the witness.
Prosecutor, the security officer's statement has been recorded in the 161, and it is categorically stated that Major Rana shot the man. Why have you not availed him as a prosecution witness?
Your Honor, he had been considered as a prosecution witness. However, later on he backtracked from his statement like he's doing now. However, the contradiction here is that he's not...
Where was the occasion to backtrack? He was never examined in court earlier.
Your Lordship, this is an allegation on witnesses.
Let me answer.
Much obliged, Your Honor. However, the witness refused to be examined as a prosecution witness.
You would have to summon him. He would backtrack only in the court. You would declare him hostile in court. It is not for you to choose not to present him once you have examined him in 161. What is the reason for not producing him as a prosecutor?
Indeed, Your Honor. However, like the counsel is already...
If he was an eyewitness.
Indeed, Your Honor. However, the witness had disagreed to be summoned as a prosecution witness.
Your Lordship, the witness was never approached. Just to bring to your notice, the witness has never backtracked from the hearing. Thank you, Your Lordship.
Much obliged, Your Honor. No further.
Thank you, Your Lordship.
The defense calls onto the stand the next defense witness, Dr. D. Dan. Dr. Dan, please repeat after me. Raise your right hand. I hereby solemnly swear that all the evidence I state in this court is the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth. Dr. Dan, could you please state your full name and qualifications for the record?
My name is Dr. D.V. Gyan. I work for Goa Medical College and Hospital. I am a medical legal expert.
Dr. Dan, what is your qualification?
I am an MD. I have qualified as a doctor from All India Institute of Medical Sciences.
Permission requested from the court to tender a witness as a competent expert witness. Much obliged, Your Lordships. Dr. Dan, you prepared the medical legal report?
Yes.
In your report, you have stated that you observed charring of the skin on the injury that was inflicted on the knee of Mr. Bhaskar Sanya. Is that correct?
Yes.
Would you explain for the benefit of the court? My lords, the counsel requests for a few moments. Much obliged. Dr. Dan, please proceed and tell for the benefit of the court as to what does this charring of the skin imply?
Well, the skin, when the bullet penetrates the skin and there's a charring on the skin, it implies implies that the bullet has hit or penetrated the skin from a very close range. Now, when I was examining Mr. Sanyal, I saw Charlie on the outer layer of this. And for my estimate, the bullet range of roughly 15 to 18 inches.
15 to 18 inches.
Yes.
What kind of a bullet could have caused such an injury?
This was a medium caliber bullet.
And how do you say so?
I examined the wound, the entry and the exit wound. I examined the diameter of this wound, and from that I came to the conclusion that it's a medium caliber bullet used.
So, any medium caliber bullet would be capable of inflicting such a wound?
Yes.
No more questions.
Will it be correct to say that there was charring on the skin?
On the outer layer.
On the outer layer of the skin. Is it also correct to say that charring happens only when there is a very, very close range shot?
Yes.
Okay. So is it also correct to say that when charring happens, the shot was fired from a maximum distance of about a feet?
I gave you the estimate.
So that's about 12 to 18 inches.
15 to 18 inches.
15 to 18 inches. Okay. So the council would like to draw the attention of the court to the crime scene sketch. It is very evident from here that it was in fact Bhaskar Sanyal who had shot at the, it was in fact Michael Barbosa who had shot at Bhaskar Sanyal's head. Your Honor, the council would like to draw the attention of the court to Annexure 1. The depiction of the
crime scene sketch cannot be referred to at this juncture because it is inadmissible as it is required section 162 of the Code of Criminal Procedure. My lords, I have a case law on this point. In Tori Singh versus State of Union, it has been stated that a rough sketch map prepared by the sub-inspector on the basis of a statement made to him by the witnesses during the course of investigation and showing the place where the deceased was hit and also the places where the other witnesses were at the time of the incident was held to be inadmissible under section 162 for it was in effect nothing more than the statement of the sub-inspector what the eyewitnesses told him and would be no more than a statement made to the police during investigation.
And if the chief, you can reserve this argument of yours at the time of final arguments.
That's right, Your Honor. Your Honor, the council would seek your permission to draw the attention of the court to the crime scene sketch. Your Honor, it is very evident from the crime scene sketch that the shot was fired from a range of 15 to 18 inches, which could have been possible only when Michael Barbosa had shot at the feet of Bhaskar Sanyal. No further questions, Your Honor.
The defense would now like to call upon retired Major J.S. Rana onto the stand. Good day, Major Rana. Please raise your right hand and repeat after me. I do hereby solemnly swear
I do hereby solemnly swear
that all the evidence that I shall state in this court
that all the evidence that I shall state in this court
is the truth,
is the truth,
the whole truth, and nothing but the truth.
and nothing but the truth.
Major Rana, could you please state your full name and particulars for the record of the court?
I am a retired Major Jaspreet Singh Rana. My father's name is Ranjit Singh Rana. I am aged 49 years.
Major Rana, I do not want to interrupt you much. I hold you in very high regard. Could you please state in your own words what happened on that fateful night?
On that fateful night, I was provided with a guest list in which I was allowed to invite few of my guests. I invited 3 of my friends, and later I gave that list to Michael Barbosa, who was to implement that list and make sure that the guests who were there on the list would be allowed to enter. And then around 11:30, I heard an alarm. I was in the previous floor that time where the casino is, and the deck is 2 floors up. So the moment I heard the alarm, I ran towards the deck because I heard the charter intercom that the accused, the dacoits were running on the deck. So I reached the deck. The moment I reached there, I saw that Michael Barbosa was being targeted by two dacoits. Like one of them was struggling with the leg, he was over him, and the second dacoit, he was charging at him with a gun. And the moment I reached there, I had to take some action, otherwise they could have killed my chief security officer. They must have been about 60-70 meters away from me. I ran towards them and I shot at them. And all of a sudden I heard another shot. And the moment I reached there, I saw that one of the dacoits, who I now know this was Babaji, he was dead. And I saved Michael. We took the other dacoit, Bhaskar Sanyal, we took over him, we took him in the custody, and that is how the incident happened. The money had gone away. I could see the motorboat going away, and we couldn't have done anything about it. So we informed Sonali Biswal, and she identified it.
Just to reiterate, Major Rana, you said you were at a distance of around how many feet?
60-70 meters. The deck was around 100 meters long.
Right.
So the moment I climbed the stairs, I must be around 60-70 meters from the
And then you were running towards...
I was running towards them, and they were, the other guy was charging towards Michael because he had apparently shot at one of their accomplices, and they were about to kill Michael.
And in which direction was that man who you said was charging against Michael facing?
His back was facing, like he was running, so I could only see his back.
And did you call out to him?
I told them to stop, but I think because they probably couldn't hear me, so I just shot at them. And there was another shot at the same time. And the moment I reached there, I saw one of the men died. I don't know from where that shot came.
There was another. Okay. No more questions.
Mr. Rana, can you tell the court how exactly is your relation with Ms. Sonali Gujral?
Ms. Sonali Gujral is my CEO. I came under her employment 1 year back when this new ship, Montecito Hotel and Casinos, was made, and she hired me as the head of operations and security, and we set up the security system.
So has she generally been very respectful to you?
Yeah, she's good, like any other boss. She gives me orders, I implement them.
Does Ms. Sonali Gujral generally tend to lie? Has she lied to your knowledge in the past?
Well, nothing I can recall of, but you can never tell what some person's character is.
So nothing you can recall, is that correct?
Yeah.
Major Rana, is it correct to say that you have just told the court that you did not have the finalists, you were giving the finalists a guess? Is that correct?
Like before this event, me and Sonali Gujral sat down, we made a guest list, and she asked me if I wanted to invite any of my friends. I have 3 childhood friends, Auntie, Kamal, and Kuwa, so they're my best friends, so I said it would be very nice.
So will it be correct to say that besides the 40 guests who were there in the party, there were some of your guests as well?
To be very precise, 3 of my
You don't
childhood
have to be
friends.
precise, I'm just asking you, were they your guests in the party, yes or no?
3 guests, yes.
They were your guests.
Yes.
So, is it correct to say that Ms. Sonali Gujral says that you had prepared the finalists? You were telling us that the finalists was given to you by Ms. Sonali Gujral.
Ma'am, I'll tell you a very straight thing. She is a CEO. She is holding an event. Now, when we sit down and prepare a list, she gives me a list. My duty is to just implement it.
Okay. So will
She
it
asked
also
me
be
if I
correct
wanted
to
to
say,
invite anybody. I said 3 friends. I'm not sure.
will it be correct to say that she is the CEO, she does not have the time to sit down and prepare the guest list, which is why it was allocated to her head of operations?
She has time to, and make up this event. Obviously,
That is
she
all
would
right.
want to know that who all are coming, so she made a guest list. She wanted to invite her friends as well.
So she prepared a list of the CEO of the casino, sat down and prepared a list of 40 people that she wanted to invite for the party.
Ma'am, the 40 people were not invited. They were the black card holders. They buy in and they come in.
Okay.
Those people were not in the guest list like that.
Thank you,
You know,
Mr.
at that point of time when they given the money, the names are added to the list. Apart
The
from
council will take permission for another approval period. Much obliged. Okay. So now, is it correct that Major Rana that Babaji did not have a gun?
Babaji had a gun.
Babaji had a gun. Okay. So have you specified it anywhere that Babaji had a gun? Have you specified it in your statement?
It wasn't asked.
It wasn't asked. Okay. So Babaji had a gun pointed at you.
Not at me.
He had
He
a
was
gun.
pointing it at Michael Barroso.
He was pointing a
Like
gun at Michael
Bhaskar,
Barbosa.
see, I'll explain it to you.
Yes.
Michael had shot Bhaskar on his knee, and Babaji at that point of time must be wanting to save his accomplice. So he was trying to, set Michael away, maybe trying to kill. He was actually, charging at him with a gun. The only thing I had to do at that point of time was to save my chief security officer.
Okay, so you shot at Babaji to save your chief security officer.
Indeed, ma'am.
Mr. Rana, can you tell us what do security officers generally do when there is a threat and there is an imminent danger?
See, when there's a threat, we try to take away that threat.
You try to take
When
away
there
the
is
threat.
imminent danger, we try to take away the imminent danger. At that point of time, the person had a gun. He was the imminent danger. He could have
Mr. Rana,
killed
please,
one of my
I
person.
request you to please cut short your arguments because it's preventing me from asking you questions and I would request you to only answer what I have asked you.
I am
What
an
does
accused here, so I need to tell the court.
Absolutely. So what do
Objection,
generally
my lord.
security officers do?
My lord, the objective of a cross-examination is not just to elicit what the prosecutor wants to hear, but to elicit the exact truth.
Your Honor, however, the counsel is just trying to elicit what is required and not what has already been done by the examination. Yes. So can you just tell us what do generally security officers do?
Generally, security officers take care of security.
Are security officers asked to shoot at a person dead when there is any threat?
Yes.
Any threat?
Yes, as per the I'm in the army, some person is holding a gun.
It
He's
is
about
because
to.
you were in the army that you decided to shoot at the head of a person?
I did not shoot at his head. I shot at him. I did not know. I didn't shoot at him.
You did not shoot at him.
I shot at him, but not at his head. His
Maybe
back
you
was
were
toward
in the
me.
army. You were telling us that in the army you're taught to shoot at a person when there is threat. You're also telling the court that you shot at a person and you missed the shot. Is all of this what you're telling the court?
Ma'am, I'm 49 years old.
And you're an old man and you did not have to be in the job. Is that what you're trying to suggest?
I'm the chief. I'm the head of security operation. I'm a head. At all the times I may not be required to kill people like that, but when the need arises, I'm there.
Much right. Your Honor, the counsel would like to bring to the notice of the court that Major Rana is telling the court that he was in charge of the security. He was also part of the army. He had shot at somebody else who was standing right in front of him and he missed the shot.
60 meters away from me.
60 meters away. Thank you. Much obliged. Your Honor.
Major Rana, you were chief of the security. You were having 3 childhood friends with you.
Indeed.
Movement was very important for them as well as for you. You from the angle of security, from them for the point of enjoyment. And they being your friends, what was your duty to entertain them and how you were serving them and where you were?
Your Honor, my friends had actually requested me if they could come to this event. So I just added them to the security list. I wasn't there with them all the time, but yeah, in between I used to go and say hi to them.
You didn't care for them?
I was providing them with the drinks, the food, they were enjoying the casino, and I was doing my duty, sir.
As per duty of yours, what did you do when the human had gone with the money and the booty?
Your Honor, I was 2 floors down from the deck. So the moment I heard the alarm, I ran towards the deck because I was told on the intercom that the people are running on the deck. It took me a while to reach there, and by the time I reached, 2 people had already escaped with the money and 2 of them were trying to kill my chief security officer. The only thing I could do was save my chief security officer, and that's what I did.
Your Honor, what has essentially happened happened today in this trial is that the prosecution has been efficiently able to discharge its burden in proving Major Rana guilty beyond reasonable doubt. Your Honor, it is important to note that there are various tests. The prosecution had examined 5 witnesses, of which there are certain contradictions that the defense seems to have claimed to have come about with. Your Honor, the counsel would want to bring to the notice of the court that the FIR was lodged a few hours before midnight, which is why Ms. Shonali Gujral in her statement says that the FIR was lodged on the next day. Your Honor, just to bring to the notice of the court that after 12 midnight, it is considered the next day, which is why Ms. Shonali Gujral insisted on the fact that it was done, in fact, the next day. Your Honor, further, it is to bring to the notice of the court that Ms. Gujral cannot be considered to have brought forth before this court any hearsay evidence, because Ms. Gujral's testimony was restricted to the events before the incident. Ms. Gujral nowhere in her testimony has stated what had happened in the death. Your Honor, Ms. Gujral has apprised this court of all the events that were up to her knowledge before the actual incident happened, and to establish the role of Major Rana in the dacoity. Your Honor, further it is submitted that the memorandum that has to be attached to section 164 is only a technical requirement. Hence, the confession of the co-accused cannot be wholly rejected based on the fact that it is a technical requirement. Your Honor, further, it is important to note...
Mr. Prosecutor, was it under 306 or 164?
Your Honor, it was under 164.
You had got pardon for the witness.
Your Honor, no.
306.
Your Honor, there was no pardon that was sought for the witness. Your Honor, it is evident in the final report that has been submitted by the investigating officer that the co-accused does not stand a chance to any pardon. Your Honor, with the permission of the MSD, I should write, Your Honor. Your Honor, it is also important to know that the testimony of the co-accused cannot be considered to be hearsay in the present case, because Mr. Bhaskar Sanyal has clearly stated in his testimony that he had heard the conversation when Mr. Rana had come to Babaji to discuss about the dacoity. And Your Honor, it is very, very evident that this discussion has in fact happened in front of Mr. Sanyal. Your Honor, further it is also important to bring to the notice of this court that it has already been testified by Ms. Shonali Gujral, who is PW1, that there were in fact guests of Major Rana who were allowed into the party, which is further corroborated by the evidence of Major Rana himself. Your Honor, further it is important to note that the guests and there were staff members, and there were guests of Ms. Shonali Gujral as well. Your Honor, further, it is humbly submitted that the reason why fingerprints were not found on the guns is because generally what happens is that when a handgun is being used, there is a great force with which the trigger is pulled backwards and the bullet goes outwards. Your Honor, it is a common phenomenon that because of the force that is applied and the recoil of the gun, these fingerprints on the handgun generally smudge. Your Honor, it is submitted that this is what Ms. Saba Muja was trying to elaborate, that it is generally there is a tendency that fingerprints may not be found on the guns. Your Honor, further it is submitted that Your Honor, during the cross-examination of the investigating officer, the defense counsel had inquired about the confession that was made. Your Honor, just to bring to the notice of the court that the investigating officer was present when the interrogation of the accused was going on. However, Your Honor, when the confession was made before the magistrate, there is nothing procedurally wrong in that regard. Your Honor, it is humbly submitted that all these evidences corroborated with the medical reports that have been submitted by the prosecution clearly bring to the fact that there was in fact murderous intent. Your Honor, it has been elaborated from the cross-examination of both witnesses on both sides that generally the trend is that when there is a threat, any trained security officer will first try not to shoot. The next attempt will be to shoot at any level that is below the leg, and the last and absolute final recourse will be to shoot at the face of a person.
Prosecutor, did any statement under 164 was the clause to comply with? Was the accused told, the person was told that his right is going to be adversely affected by giving such a statement.
Indeed, Your Honor, I would like to draw the attention of the court to the confession that has been recorded. Your Honor, the confession clearly states that the magistrate had read out the consequences of his action to the accused.
Objection, my lord, there is no such indication.
Statement under 165.
Specified in Annexure A, the statement of Bhaskar Sanya that he has turned state's witness and has confessed to the crime before the learned magistrate. Your Honor, further it was also stated that the statement recorded was as follows. Your Honor, it is important to note that
has the court, the CGM has explained to him that any such statement could be reversed, be used against him.
Indeed, Your Honor.
As per Circular 2.
Indeed, Your Honor, this is the general procedure that is followed by recording a confession.
But in Kasab's case, the Supreme Court has come heavily down on such things. You cannot, without explaining, in Kasab's case, it has come down heavily that the prosecutor, the magistrate, does not explain that the rights are adversely affected. That's the job of the magistrate.
Indeed, Your Honor.
And it is for you also to make sure that the accused is told of his rights.
Indeed, Your Honor. However, it is only submitted that generally in cases where statements are made before the Chief Judicial Magistrate, the presumption is that such technical details have been met. Your Honor, hence the Council would like to submit that it is to be reviewed unless adversely established that these procedural requirements were in fact met. Your Honor, with the permission, may I proceed? Much obliged, Your Honor. Your Honor, further, it is important to note that when there are minor discrepancies in the testimonies or witnesses, the Supreme Court has established time and again that these minor discrepancies cannot be considered enough to reject the prosecution's story completely. Your Honor, it has also been stated various times that it is practically impossible to expect an absolute and complete correspondence with the testimonies, and hence if the witness testimonies correspond with the medical evidences, then it is enough to establish the fact that the accused is in fact guilty. Your Honor, the contradiction in the defense witness testimonies has been brought forth before this court only to establish before this court and to reassure the court that the prosecution story is in fact impeccable. Your Honor, further, it is important to note that the plea of self-defense as raised by the defense cannot be made admissible in the present case because it is a very well-established law that unnecessary harm cannot be allowed. The garb of self-defense cannot be used to take any unnecessary harm against the person. Your Honor, it is only in cases of imminent threat that this right is available. Your Honor, however, it is clear in this case that the motive of Major Rana to have shot Babaji was twofold. First, Major Rana had shot the accused because he was enabling the property to be taken out of the premises of the ship, which means that he was facilitating the dacoity as well as he was enabling the property to be taken out, which establishes the nexus between the murder and the dacoity. Your Honor, further it is submitted that the second interest of Major Rana was because he wanted a much greater share of the booty. Your Honor, it is also submitted that it is absolutely unlikely that Ms. Shonali Gujral would have known about Major Rana's retirement plans. Your Honor, it is only evident that if Major Rana was in fact hand in glove with Babaji in the dacoity, it is only obvious that he had probably discussed these plans with him and not with Ms. Shonali Gujral. Your Honor, the general trend of justice delivery in this country has been such that miscarriage of justice may arise from the acquittal of a guilty as much as it would arise from the conviction of the innocent. Hence, the prosecution submits its case before this honourable court and requests the court to hold Major Rana guilty of the offences and hence punish him for the same. Much obliged, Your Honor.
Closing statement. My lords, to speculate is one, and to prove is completely another.
But this is no prime time debate to discuss conspiracy theories. It is a court of law, which is an instrumentality of justice placing the life and liberty of a man at the highest pedestal. The learned prosecutors have vociferously attempted to make this court believe that my client, Major J.S. Rana, a decorated officer of the Indian Army, was the brain behind this sinister conspiracy. They have concluded that it was an open and shut case. But my lord, eloquence is no substitute for evidence. And only evidence, conclusive, can result in a conviction meeting the threshold of proof beyond reasonable doubt. So what is the evidence in this case? The hearsay FIR that does not point to my client, or the ballistic or post-mortem reports, which are both self-contradictory and do not trace the fatal bullet to Major Rana. As my lords would have seen, no direct evidence is present in this case. And in matters relating to only circumstantial evidence, motive becomes an important element in explaining the acts of a man. Professor Granville Williams aptly has opined in this regard that greed is the easiest motive to allege in the absence of any evidence. So what exactly is the prosecution case? The pivot of the prosecution case is the testimony, uncorroborated testimony of a man completely unworthy of the confidence of this court. A story filled with conjectures which are not even partially substantiated, coming from a man having strong reasons to be vindictive against my client. Sarkar, who cunningly portrays himself as a mere pawn in the plot, admitted and confessed not because of his remorse, but because he admittedly had no other option. But he still took 34 days in which he talked to only one person, that is his lawyer. 34 days enough to concoct a story and fabricate evidence. My lord, the shoddy police investigation, which was making no headway at all in tracing either the money or the men responsible for this dacoity, was under immense pressure for their failures, and they jumped at the first opportunity of finding a scapegoat, a donkey to pin the tail on. And from that moment onwards, the whole course of investigation changed. Sole intention being to either collect or manufacture evidence against Mr. J.S. Rana. The legal fallacies in the case will be explained by myself a little further, but allow me to draw the attention of the court to what really happened before us today. Ms. Srinali Gujral, the prosecution witness, came and said she saw nothing suspicious and admitted that in addition to Major Rana's private guests, her guests were allowed, which means that the evidence of opportunity adduced is completely inconclusive. Secondly, the investigating officer of the case, who was bestowed with an exceptional common sense, considered only incriminating evidence against my clients to be relevant, and that evidence which made him go scot-free as completely irrelevant. My lords, allow me to draw the attention of the bench towards the fact that it is the investigating officer is not supposed to just consider the incriminating evidence, but is bound to consider evidence impartially of both sides, and is also bound to mention the same in his report, which he failed to do. The evidence of the expert, Mr. Dehant Rehan, well, I still have been trying for a lot of time to fathom how a bullet can go inside a skull and go forward and backward. I am still at failure at that. He said it's a close range shot, around less than 15 inches, but which is in strong contradiction to the other experts. Some experts say it's 15 feet, some say it's 15 inches. There is no meeting ground. Coming to Ms. Sabha Huda, she has said before this court that she received all the evidence, the guns, the bullets, everything in a single package. Now, the IO has said to the court that on first, when he sealed the evidence, he He sent it in different packages. But the forensic science laboratory received it in one package. So there is some discrepancy. What happened in between? We don't know. My guess is just as good as yours. But it is not a burden on me to prove. It is a burden for the prosecution which they have miserably failed. Mr. Bhaskar Sanyal, his evidence of preparation has already been excluded by this court as hearsay, as he admitted to not being there when the first meeting was held between Major Rana and Babaji. Moreover, he also admitted to the fact that the investigating officer admitted that he was present in the room when the confession was taking place, which further casts aspersions on the veracity of this evidence. The Supreme Court has held that if the investigating officer is present in the room when he is confessing, there is strong doubt on the veracity of this evidence and is liable to be quashed. Moreover, the confession, which is the only thing on which the prosecution has based its whole case, the confession of a man unworthy of the credit of this court, on whom the prosecution is requesting this court to convict a respectable member of the society, is completely inadmissible. The fallacies under section 164 clause 4, the memorandum which has to be affixed to ascertain the voluntariness of the confession, this is not an irregularity only of form but of substance, because it goes to the very root of the confession. Moving forward, the prosecution has failed completely to establish the conjointness of intention between the prosecution has failed completely to establish the conjointness of intention between the accused and the dacoits, which is sine qua non of the offence of dacoity as mentioned by the Supreme Court in Anthony D'Souza versus State of Karnataka. As rightly pointed out by my lords, the Kasab case also reiterates this principle. Even though it was in relation to the Tada Act, however, the principle can be used in the present case as well. Moving forward, in what the prosecution has tried to do today is try to mislead this court. The prosecution has tried only to concoct a story as they could find no donkey to pin the tail on. Allow the defense to appraise the court what really happened, what transpired that night on the deck of the Aurora. My lords, as came out from the unimpeached testimony, despite opposition from both Major Rana and Mr. Michael Barbosa, Babaji had a gun to Mr. Michael's aim, and Mr. Michael was in Babaji's cross chest. Major Rana had to make a judgment call in split seconds, and he waited for a second more. His chief security officer, his blue-eyed officer, would have died in front of his own eyes. The law doesn't require him to stand and wait for his officer to die before he takes an action. And moreover, Major Rana is not just entitled to take this action. Being the head of operations security, he is also vested with the responsibility of taking these actions. Had it not been for his army reflexes, Michael Barbosa would not have lived to see another sunshine. Mr. Shamsul Huda, in his Tagore Law Lectures 1902, has very aptly opined something which I would like to present to the bench. That the extent of the right to private defense is marked. My lord, I would request you to use this point. The extent of the right of private defense varies in inverse proportion to the capacity of the state to protect the subject. At this instant, Michael Barbosa could not have relied upon the state to come and protect the witness. My Lord, I would request the indulgence of the court to allow me 2 minutes. Moreover, the Supreme Court in Jail Development versus State of Punjab mentioned at page number 7 of the compendium has stated that in judging the conduct of a person who asserts his right to private defense, due allowance has necessarily to be made for his feelings at the time. Feelings of the fact that there were a volley of bullets being fired at the deck, he could see a hostage, and he could also see the fact that Babaji was about to kill his chief security officer.
There is no explanation from the accused. Is this man, why should he falsely implicate him? The statement of Bhaskar Surana, why should he implicate you? Is there a reason, enmity? There is, in your statement in court, you have not explained anything. Why should he say that you are the major person who's hatched this conspiracy?
In fact, my lord, it is a matter on record that Mr. Bhaskar Sanyal was fired by Major J.S. Rana, my client, 3 months prior to this incident from his position at the Montecito Hotel and Casino, which is a strong enough reason for him to harbor vindictive interests against my client. If I may proceed, my lord. The Supreme Court has held in Bhuta Singh versus State of Punjab and reiterated the same principle in Dwarka Prasad versus State of Uttar Pradesh. The principle that where in the heat of the moment a person carries his defense a little further than what would be necessary when calculated with the precision and exactitude of a calm, unruffled mind, the law makes due allowance. Assuming for the sake of argument only that Major Rana was a part of this conspiracy to commit the dacoity, and also assuming for argument's sake that he did unlawfully murder Mr. Brij Gopal, the conviction under section 396 attempted to be established by the prosecution still does not stand, as the Supreme Court has laid down in Sham Bihari versus State of Uttar Pradesh, which is at page 29 of the compendium, that in order for a charge under section 396 to succeed, 3 essential elements have to be established: murder, dacoity, and a nexus. The fact that the murder was committed in furtherance of the crime. The defense humbly submits that this murder, if assuming was committed only in obstruction of the crime and not in furtherance. My lord, the apex court has time and again held my lord, the apex. My lord, allow me to take 1 minute of your time. That is all I ask. The apex court has held in multiple cases, time and again, that where cases are based only on circumstances, the circumstances must be established, complete without any missing link in the chain of evidence. But fortunately, my lord, this court does not have to find the missing link, as there is no link. The evidence adduced by the prosecution amounts to no proof whatsoever. They only want you to convict a respectable member of the society and a decorated officer of the Indian Army solely on the word of a self-confessed criminal who is unworthy of even the slightest confidence of this court. And if the court does so, it would result in a gross miscarriage of justice.
Mr. Defense Lawyer, Major Rana was in charge of the overall security
of your previous,
and report was made by his CEO. Report was made by his CEO. FIR was made by his CEO. If he was not having any guilty conscience, why he didn't come forward and reported the matter to the police by their FIR?
My lord, at the time of the incident, Major Rana being the head of operations security, he was ensuring that no other dacoits or no other live threats were present in the casino. He was frisking each and every guest to safety and ensuring that all the guests are safe and secure.
Minutes after the incident, the security checkup had started. The investigating officer came about an hour later. What was his role then before the investigating officer?
My lord, the investigating officer and Major Rana do not have overlapping roles. Their roles are completely different. The investigating officer was investigating the crime, and the responsibility of Major Rana was to ensure the security and protection of each and every guest on board.
Was his not his duty to report the matter because he was the security in charge to the police that this thing has happened, and why he made his CEO to get all this cooperation is my lord. And when Mr. Rana was arrested,
my lord, there is no evidence on record to show when he was arrested. However, his arrest has to be post the confession of the accused, Mr. Bhaskar Sanya.
It means it was after 2, 3, 4 days.
After more than a month, my lord.
After more than a month.
Indeed, my lord.
Till then, no accusation has been made against him.
Indeed, my lord.
Then why he did not go to the investigating authorities and give his statement as a prosecution witness?
My lord, his statement had already been taken on the deck that very day, and had the prosecution not turned on him, he surely would have been here testifying against the other dacoits as a prosecution witness. At that moment, when he gave the testimony, he was not under an impression that suddenly the prosecution would concoct a story pointing all fingers towards him.
Any reason for not citing list of guests which included, as per your case, guests of also your friends?
My lord, the list of guests, as pointed out by the unimpeached testimony of Major Rana, the accused himself, was not a completely predetermined list. It was restricted to the black card entry
Your
holders.
witness has stated that the list of guests was finalized in his presence, which included 3 of his guests.
Indeed,
That this was very important witness and document which you should have given in your defense.
And that list was not placed on record.
That was for you to produce because these were your guests, 3 guests.
Indeed, my lord. However, the investigating officer seized all of these documents but failed to produce all of them on record. Hence, we were denied the chance to cross-examine him on the basis of that guest list.
Have you not exceeded the right of private defense?
Indeed not.
Was anybody hurt before you fired the shot?
Indeed, my lord, there was somebody who's hurt. And to answer your first question,
Who was hurt at that point of time?
only the captor of the hostage.
There was nobody injured, there was no bullet in the
My lord,
and your defense is that you shot at from 60 meters. Then why is there blackening on the wound?
my lord, it is not a burden on us to establish this. The prosecution
You
must
have appeared
stand.
as a witness. You have appeared as a witness to explain your situation. So therefore, how you have specifically said that the shot was from 60 meters. Then how come there is blackening on the body of the deceased?
My lord, the prosecution must stand on its own feet to establish all of this. And it is our only contention that they have failed in establishing it. The mere fact that our witness contradicted what they said does not amount to a weakness in our case. It only means that the prosecution failed to establish beyond any reasonable doubt what really transpired through expert evidence in this case. And if I may answer your first question, no right of private defense was exceeded because the right of private defense is based on a grave and imminent threat. Moreover, it varies, as I have pointed out from the opinion of Mr. Shamsul Huda, that it varies in inverse proportion with the extent of the right varies in inverse proportion to the state. The Major Rana neither even had any opportunity to take recourse to any authorities. coming to the point, was there any excessive force? My lord, the Supreme Court has time and again held that in such situations, much obliged. Just to conclude, based on collectively evaluating all the evidence
You have working.
Major Rana cannot be